The newspaper clips on my slide show the current situation happen in education. As you can see, year to year, the news keep reported the decline number of students pursue study in STEM field. The question here, are you okay with these situations? Does, as pandemic COVID-19, everybody have to take their responsible, either you are a teacher, student, or parents. As a teacher, the pedagogy changed to face-to-face and online learning that we call as a blended learning. However, they still have a leg to implement the STEM criteria in their learning process. Then, let's talk about the STEM criteria in the learning process. So, Assalamualaikum and very good day everyone. Today I am Durrani Aimi binti Abdul Malik from Center for Mathematical Science, College of Computing and Applied Science, University Malaysia Pahang. We'll share with you about the determination STEM Mathematics Blended Learning Criteria via Fuzzy Analytical Hierarchy Process, AHP methods. Let's get started. The expectation of this study to model the best STEM criteria using fuzzy decisions making for high impact STEM achievement together with Ministry of Education. So, when we discuss about the STEM issue, we can see the trend is decline in mathematics STEM achievement from 2019 to 2021. Can you predict are the results increase? As government says, 60% of students should in the STEM field in 2025. Then, the huge gap between rural and urban area until 2021 in mathematics achievement. And the latest, the enrollment of students pursue study in STEM fields is only 47.118 after their lower secondary schools. Thus, blended learning not being able to increase the STEM achievement. The STEM criteria should be included together to optimize the high impact STEM achievement. So, let us move into the directions. As suggested in Malaysia Education Blueprints, blended learning become a new norm for the teachers and the government urged for the best practice in teaching a learning process. As mathematics known as a tough subject, where active process needed in order to inculcate the student to conceptualize, analyze, to evaluate the informations and also to find the solution of the mathematics. However, the teachers still have a limited knowledge on online learning and also on how to entwine ability to force problem solving associated to the higher thinking level skills. Moreover, the curriculum change in 2017 made the situations become more complexity. Meanwhile, many agree that STEM criteria is an essential skills needed in their learning. Thus, this study will apply the fuzzy MCDMs in order to select the appropriate STEM criteria for obtain the maximum student in fulfill 21st century skill, which is 4C, creative, critical thinking, cooperations, and communications. So the problem statement is three current issues: time consuming, limited knowledge of education, and change of the standard curriculum. While they have another one, we got multiple STEM criteria and no specific research in fuzzy MCDM in STEM, and also educators must involve the 5 elements in the learning process. In this study, when we use the fuzzy set theory, according to the literature review, the fuzzy set theory is used due to the concept of the natural language and inconsistency data. So, what fuzzy number will be used? And the fuzzy number will be focused on the type 1 fuzzy number due to the recent established fuzzy number used in education. And which one? Triangular and trapezoidal. Both of them have less applications in education field. So, this time we want to use the triangular fuzzy numbers. Which defuzzification method is used? Based of the meaning, the defuzzification is to get the Kritz value, and we apply the concept of the centroid which is extension of the concept of the centered, which is intensive centered method due to the involved the y-axis, which is relevant to the concept of the human judgment. And why using the AHP? Because of most common MCDM apply extensively to evaluate the complex multi-criteria and also to outperform by ease of the analysis quantitative and qualitative data and to calculate the accurate criteria weight and alternative priority. Then, what method of fuzzy AHP used? They have a lot of the method of fuzzy AHP from the Van Tlahover to the Kulak-Karman 2005, and we suggest to use in this study for synthesis analysis by Chang due to the sequencing and more accurate result when using the triangular. How to implement the effective of blended learning? So due to the document standard curriculum pentaksiran sekolah, the SKP, all learning process should include knowledge, skills, attitude, and also the value. So this is included into the Milatur Rahman's study. Then we implement that STEM criteria in the blended learning. What is the evaluation criteria involved in the literature review? Based on the literature review, we come out with the 28 of the evaluation STEM criteria. This flowchart for methodology, they have 4 phases, which is designing the problem, identify the criteria and alternative, calculate the weight of criteria, and also selecting the best STEM criteria. For the first phase, so we analyze the problem in STEM mathematics and driving features the corresponding of the STEM criteria and also the factors influence the STEM criteria based on the literature review and the standard-based curriculum and assessment document. Then we got the information and give to the expert judgment with the questionnaire for validations and also for identify the criteria and alternative by principles of fuzzy number. Then at this phase, we used to check the consistency for every decisions maker and also if the consistency is more than 0.1, so we go back to the decisions maker and we calculate the criteria weight by fuzzy analytical hierarchy process by Chang. And last one, we select the best STEM criteria based on the weight of this criteria. This is the principle of fuzzy analytical hierarchy process used in order to get the criteria identifications. The second one we used for fuzzy analytical hierarchy process, which is for the weight of the criteria. This is the flow where we got the triangular fuzzies number and change the linguistic variable to the fuzzies into fuzzy and doing the fuzzy previous comparisons based on the questionnaire and aggregation and defuzzification. The last ones we get the consistency ratio for every decisions maker. Then we use the fuzzy analytical hierarchy process by Chang with this step to get the weight of the criteria. This is the framework of this study. It includes the fuzzy set theory, form of fuzzy set theory, and also the fuzzy analytical hierarchy process and method for AHP. Then the results, the criteria for identifications from the literature and standard-based curriculum and assessment documents. We got chosen by the 3 resources, which is requisite knowledge and learning skill only for the criteria. Then for others, we got from the standard curriculum and assessment document and also literature review, which is a value, flexible, technology, resource, attitude. Then we go to the expert judgment to select the appropriate STEM criteria. So the criteria weight acceptable for STEM mathematics criteria, which is value, attitude, flexible, technology, and resource. Where the value of the weight is more than 0.1, so all the possibility criteria are considered as a criterion. So for the hierarchy model, we got the ranking of the best STEM criteria as a goal, and the criteria is we have a 7 criteria and also we have a 28 sub-criteria, what we call it the factors influence of the criteria. So for the second result, this is for criteria weight and determination via fuzzy analytical hierarchy process by chunks. So this is the fuzzy evaluation with the respect of the goal by the TFN. The constituency ratio, we got the 0.0208, and the result, the requisite knowledge is the most important criteria selected. Is the best 10 criteria, which is in line with the SKP and Malaysia of Education's Blueprint 2013-2025. And among the criteria in the requisite knowledge, we got that the ranking of the sub-criteria, where is the representations, is the highest score of the weightage. It's happened due to the decisions maker confirm that the student should master the basic knowledge of the learning before the other sub-criteria, which is in line with the lower level in taxonomy blue. And for the ranking criteria for the decision hierarchy, we use a global weight criteria and evaluation of the STEM criteria in blended learning per sub criteria. The learnability and appropriate of the resource is the important in the implement the blended learning, because it should be the clarify first before the other important subcriteria are considered. This consistent with the others e-learning study. It also clearly show that the basic tools in implement the effective blended learning, which is the capability of the accessing the internet, so which is similar to the meaning and of the blended learning. For novelty of this study is a fuzzy MCDM fields, which is a new different usage, and also to provide a best STEM criteria in the mathematics towards the blended learning. And also we exploit 3 types of resource in order to select the appropriate decisions. So for the conclusions, the limitations in the literature, the short-term study in MCDM's techniques, the limitations numbers of reference in terms of the applicable extensions method, and also the resource reference about the apply IMC diversifications. So the suggestion is to apply others MCDM's methods and extensions centered method to be used and imply or modify the IMC diversification. In terms of methodology, this study only apply in one type of fuzzy number and also linear fuzzy number only. Then we suggest to use extensions method, which is type 2 and Z number, and also to extend to the other part of fuzzy. In terms of purpose model, they have a lot of limitations, which is STEM mathematics, one subject, which is only one subject include, and the locality is a device data, and the type of school is a variety, and we focus on the blended learning. So the suggestion to go to the other subject and specific the locality such as a rural or urban, or focus on the school, which is boarding school or daily school, and can use to the other learning material. In terms of the community benefits, they have a usefulness for Ministry of Education, action to be taken to improve the quality of STEM, and also the teachers to action to be improve the pedagogy, and also the student to enhance the student engage to interest in STEM mathematics. So the applicability of this model to enhance the teachers' collaborations, which is mathematics teacher can discuss the activity of the topic to be teach, which is meet the second initiative Wave 3 Malaysia Blueprints. This study is funded by Ministry of Education for hadiah latihan persekutuan scholarships, and the contribution for one paper, a view of MCDM application in education for Scopus Index, and also the 3 presenter for postgraduate symposiums, ICC GANs, and also the monthly mathematics colloquium, and innovation for the CTRIC 2022 for the Silver Award. And I would like to thank you to Jabatan Pelajaran Negeri Pahang for data collection, and also SIC Plus and Mathematics Expert Group Teacher, Kuantan and Pekan District as a decision maker. And this is the references of this study. So, Fernand, thank you for listening.